We're here today to talk to you about school closings and what we'll do. And in fact, this morning as I left my house, that on the news, I was hearing as I went out the door, are snow days a thing of the past? So it is around the nation, and people are trying to figure out what to do when all these days occur that we had happen last year. So your vocabulary word for today is asynchronous. It means not at the same time, and we are going to use our It's Learning platform in order to do that. So what that means for us is that teachers and students won't have to be at the same time in the same place in order to have learning occur. The teachers are going to be responsible for the materials, the lectures, everything from discussion boards, assignments, that kind of thing. And then the students will have to complete the work on their own schedule. Now, you see there that we have a 5-day window. We are giving a 5-day window after we come back to school because there are various things. There might be electricity that doesn't work. You might not be able to do that. You might not have a device. Whatever might happen. So in order not to penalize somebody for something they can't help, then it'll be 5 days after they come back before their work is due. This year, we do have in our calendar 2 inclement weather days, and we will use those. But if we have any additional days, then we will use asynchronous learning to do that. And we are working right now to develop the content, and we're going to provide training to our teachers and students, and we have a communication plan for this year in case we should use them. If we don't use them this year, there will be, as you heard a minute ago, there is no recommendation for a snow day, inclement weather day, medical leave day, whatever you want to call it, for next year. So we would use this completely next year if we need the days. So we will make it up for that, and we will not have any weather days for next year. This is the reason we thought we could do this year, because we had to use it some last year, so we sort of got trial by fire. A lot of things worked well. We thought we could do enough this year in order to use it should we need to, and with enough planning going on this year, then as we go into next year, we should have no problem. We also, and Dr. Bearden has been going around, I think this is his 2nd round of visits to schools, and we are seeing technology used all the time. So we are going to utilize their knowledge of that. And then we did have a district committee that we got together. There are all kind of questions from what do you do if you don't have electricity, to what do you do if I don't have a device? How do I count students present, or are they absent? What do we do? So we had a committee that we have put together. They've talked through a lot of these things, and they did represent elementary, middle, and high. We are working on our content, which is one of the reasons I'm here with Teaching and Learning. We're supporting our content, and we are helping our teachers try to figure out what they would do on those days and be able to have some kind of interactive activity that requires a student response. So you can't just turn on your computer and let it go and think you've done your work. We have now, at the moment, have 200 items submitted, and they are being reviewed so that our teachers will, in fact, know what to do, have a place to start, and then they'll put their content that they're on in there. And it is created by teachers and school-level people in our schools. Digital equity.
So I'm up. And Ann was sitting in earlier on a digital equity task force that we've had going for some time. One of the big concerns that we've heard over and over again is, what about the students that don't have internet access at home? Or what if the power goes out? And the asynchronous learning was by design so that if you've got a teacher or students or blocks of folks that don't have power, they have a period of time when they return to school to complete their work, so they're not penalized for not having power. For the students who are low SES, so they may or may not have access to devices or internet access, we have a program that involves a mobile hotspot called a Kajit. And we check those out at the schools, and we're in the process of identifying any additional children beyond what we're already providing for those mobile hotspots for internet access as well as for those devices. to address that. So we're going to have the social workers and counselors work with the ITSs in each school to deal with that. The Moral Foundation has been very gracious in providing us with funds for those devices, and they're going to continue to support us, as well as other foundations and entities for working with that. And then we'll continue to review and update our policies. Right now, each school has their own policy for checkout. We'll review those and help those folks as they go along to ensure that there's equitable access to those devices amongst all the children. And then again, like I said before, the school counselors and social workers will be working with the ITSs to identify students that might need them. In terms of training plan, we really are fortunate in that we already have an I3 team, and we appreciate the support on continuing to keep that team together moving forward, we hope. And that team will take the primary burden of doing the training out in the schools with teachers, with administrators, and with parents to help them understand what this is going to mean for them when we have to call a snow day or an inclement weather day. We're going to have an online learning for school closure practice drill on Monday, January the 5th. In essence, what we'll do is it's a professional learning day, so teachers will post something and then run through the process of having the kids complete something that day and then bring that home as homework. So that ties well already into the notion of using It's Learning for delivering homework. So that fits well with that. And then the online learning school closure plan will be reviewed at the 2015-2016 pre-planning dates, so that we've put that information out for all the teachers. Each teacher is going to instruct their students on where to find school closure activities in their It's Learning classes. We'll work with the I3 team to develop a consistent structure for that across all the schools in the district, so that, say you've got a family that's got elementary and middle school kids, that'll help the parents know where those plans and those activities should be. And then additionally, students will be reminded of their responsibilities for making up that snow time after returning from school closure days. Another thing that we've had some questions about is, does this mean that the child's going to have to sit in front of the computer on a snow day for 6 hours? And the answer is no. There's we've always worked on time in seat, or time for task, in education. And one of the things with online learning is you really shift more into a mindset of mastery of content. And so it'll be up to the teacher to determine what constitutes mastery of content, and then designing activities for the student to be able to demonstrate that. And some students would be able to demonstrate that mastery in an hour, or in other students it might take them 2 hours. And so this really gets also at that idea that not every student's the same. Not every student takes the same amount of time to learn and master the same content. And that's something that I wanted to emphasize just a little bit.
We will be emphasizing the rigor, and in fact, the goal is to continue to provide high-level instruction even if we have to close a school. So it will not just be babysitting. And another thing that we've had a question about along that line is, what if I have more than one child, and are they going to sit in front of that computer for 8 hours and we've only got one computer? What are we going to do with our 2 other children? So we are working through all that to help them understand that it doesn't matter how many children you have, you can still get it done.
Yeah, and there'll be a period of time after the students return to school. We've already had parent training taking place on It's Learning, so parents should be getting up to date. And we're also doing improvements in It's Learning in terms of the parent portal and some other things to help improve communication and access with those. And we've got information on the link that we've provided in the PowerPoint. We will also be having training days for parents at December 5th. From 6 to 7 p.m. December 1st will be North Forsyth High School. December 2nd will be South Forsyth High School, and December 4th will be Forsyth Central, held at Forsyth Central High School. And in those sessions, we'll talk more about its learning in general and how to assist students in retrieving lessons and getting them ready.
Communication plan.
Communication is a very important component of this plan because we do have a short time frame, and whenever we do have to close down school, we don't want parents all of a sudden or either students to say, okay, how do I even find its learning and how do I utilize it? So tonight, of course, we're presenting this to the school board, and we're actually pulling out this short vignette, and it will be posted online so that individuals will just be able to watch this presentation. We are taking advantage of the superintendent's advisory meetings. He has parent and community advisory meetings, teacher and student advisory, and then we also have the administrator meeting, and then of course we have the ITS and media specialist meeting. And then we're sharing information on the district and school websites, which will happen tomorrow. And then I just finished the updated FAQ, so that will be posted. And then we'll also have an online link too that they can email questions to the I3 team, and then we can go back and update the FAQs for updated questions that we seem to get from the community. This will go out in Friday Notes tomorrow, also in district and school newsletters. It will be posted in It's Learning. We will work with local media, and then we also have the parent training sessions, which we're excited that Teaching and Learning is going to join the I3 team and offer some information about Georgia milestones at those meetings as well.
That's great.
And of course, if you have any recommendations for communications, we're always open for that too.